When you think that things can't get any worse for the Dodgers, not so fast. They find a way to prove us all wrong. This weekend was the definition of rock bottom. Not only losing against a sub 500 team, but managing to blow a game they were one out away from pitching a no-hitter.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Don't let the smile fool you. Just when it looks bad for the Dodgers, it gets worse. From no-hitter with one out to go to nightmare, a catching situation that's gone from thin to a full-on problem, and one of your aces got scratched last minute. Again, this and more in today's episode, which is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Travis, things are getting shakier by the minute for the boys in blue.
I'll say, that was about as bad of a road trip as you could possibly have. Thankfully, they salvaged the game on Sunday afternoon. But I don't use the word disaster very often, but this was a disaster of a road trip.
Absolutely. He's Travis Rogers. I'm Harry Ruiz, two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. You can call us the football guys, but we're baseball guys as well. We love the Dodgers, and you can get more Travis on 710 ESPN LA or the ESPN LA app from 3 to 6 p.m. week number 2 with this new time slot for the Travis and DeMarco show. As for me, I'm the Spanish play-by-play broadcaster for the USC football Trojans and the Las Vegas Raiders. Travis, our teams went 3-0 this weekend between your Rams, Raiders, and USC. We got more wins in football than in baseball this weekend.
I'm calling it 4-1. If we're taking the weekend, I'm taking that Dodger win, and we got to throw one Yamamoto loss in there. But we'll take 4-1. That's a good weekend.
For sure. Honestly, nothing beats being able to jump on the mic every weekday morning and diving deep into what I love most, which is Dodger baseball, even though the results aren't what we've wanted as of late. And we want you to be a part of our show. Hit us up on the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 279-3-LOCKED or 279-365-2533. You can either leave us a voicemail or a text, and you might be featured in our show. Leading off, scoreboard watching time. The Padres won 2 out of 3 in Colorado, cutting the Dodgers' division lead to 1 game. Phillies won 2 out of 3 in Miami and now have a 4-game lead ahead of LA for the 2nd seed in the National League. But we still got a series against them later this month in exactly a week. Well, this because the Dodgers barely avoided being swept in Baltimore after losing all 3 in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. A terrible week for LA with only 19 games left in the regular season. Friday, Travis, 1-1 game in the 9th, 1 strike away from extra innings. Tanner Scott blows another one with a walk-off home run. That was the beginning of, I remember joking around last week, we need a no-hitter to be able to win games. That right there was like, okay, let us continue to be competitive, and the Dodgers weren't able to do so.
No, it was a pretty ugly omen on the heels of a pretty ugly series in Pittsburgh. It felt like the Dodgers were going to maybe scrape together something in the 9th inning. I believe you had Ohtani coming up to lead off the 10th inning, and it was going to be a pretty good situation for them if, in fact, they could get it to extra innings. But what has been a nightmare of a season for Tanner Scott continued. He gives up the game-winning run in the bottom of the 9th inning. And, Harry, I know we're going to get to Saturday night, but Saturday was less on him than it was on Blake Trinan, but another blown save opportunity by Tanner Scott as well. And we're just getting to that point in the year, Harry, where I don't know what you do with him. Like, I get what you're trying to do. I get that you're hoping that at some point he finds some sort of rhythm, some sort of groove, but it just really hasn't happened. We're well into September. Like you said, we're under 20 games to go for the rest of the season. He has not pitched well in months. And I really do think that you got to start thinking about some other options. I guess he's going to be on the team. I guess you're going to have to use him here and there. But at the end of the game situation, I just don't know if Tanner Scott is a viable option at this point. He's just been so bad for so long.
Yeah, and they're not going to cut him 1 year into
No.
his deal and pay him more in average for one season, $72 million than Shohei Ohtani than what he makes. He's still going to be on this team, but I feel it's a real possibility that we go into October for however long the Dodgers are going to be playing in the postseason without a guy like Tanner Scott, without a guy like Kirby Yates, because even though we've been guys that have criticized them, at the same time, we're like, well, they're guys that you pay to be in those late inning situations, that you look at the other options in the bullpen. And man, after seeing Dodger grown players do their job in relief pitching on Sunday's game, I'm like, well, maybe we just roll with the guys that actually have been effective, that might not have the yips right now on the mound, which Tanner Scott seems to be having. And you mentioned Saturday. Let's just go with Saturday. One of the most embarrassing regular season losses in franchise history, if not the worst. Yoshinobu Yamamoto found himself in a position where he needed a no-hitter to win, because this team just can't have any consistency with their bats. That was the 6th time in an 8-game span where they couldn't score more than 3 runs. Even when Yamamoto left the game after his no-hitter was broken up by a solo home run, all this team needed was 1 out to win the game. But no, Blake Trinan was terrible. Tanner Scott, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, wasn't able to get out 27 for the 2nd night in a row, and the Dodgers lost their 5th consecutive defeat. This is their 2nd losing streak of at least 5 games this season, their 4th losing streak of at least 4 games in 2025. Travis, that game on Saturday was embarrassing. I was saving it for my drive back to Vegas, but I got it spoiled by my broadcast partner, by Antonio Morales from The Athletic. Shout out to Alex Naveja as well. So I just watched the game on the way back to make my drive even more miserable at night, and being like, how the heck did we blow a game that we were 1 out away from having a no-hitter? And it was just frustrating watching it. Even knowing the result, it was so frustrating.
It would be funny if it wasn't a team that we cared about. Like it would be, at least intellectually humorous to say a guy went 8 2/3 innings without giving up a single hit, had a 3-run lead, and still found a way to lose the game. Only it's not funny because of the way that it unfolded. Yamamoto has been terrific for the Dodgers this year. Just absolutely terrific. Probably his best outing as a member of this team. And instead of being able to use that and build on it and take it into the postseason, it was the low water mark for this team. And look, I honestly, Blake Trinan was really bad. He said he was really bad, and we'll just leave it at that, because he's pitched pretty well for them. He's one of the few guys that comes out of that bullpen and you feel like you got a pretty good chance of getting out of the inning. But Tanner Scott comes in and does what he does. And I just don't know what you do with him the rest of the way. I don't know how you put and at some point, Harry, this becomes an issue with the rest of the team. And no one's ever going to point fingers. That's not how the Dodgers roll. But at some point, the other 8 guys on the field are going to be looking around like, seriously, we're doing this again? And it's not a personal judgment. It's we're trying to win these games. We're trying to hold off the Padres. We're trying to catch the Phillies. And you keep putting the same guy in expecting a different result, and it's not. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. I guess if there's a lesson learned in the Scott and Yates, just debacle of 2025, it's that Andrew Friedman kind of did something he typically does not do during the offseason, which is pay full retail price for relief pitchers. And he paid both of those guys, and both of them have been massive disappointments. And Scott, to your point, has a 4-year deal. This is just year one of a 4-year deal. Now, I would be very surprised if they don't try to move him sooner than later, because it just has not worked here. They obviously do not have a fix for whatever it is that's bothering him. I would think there is some use for him somewhere else. The Dodgers may have to eat some of that money along the way. But, Saturday night was are you kidding me? Like I was out. I was actually watching the SC game, and as the clicker's coming by, it's like, oh, Yamamoto has a no-hitter through 8 innings. So the TVs go over to the Dodgers, and we're watching the Dodger night. And just as it's unfolding, you just can't believe what it is you're seeing. And the Dodgers, for such a long time, have been really good at just stopping the nonsense. Like, okay, this is not just knock it off, and they win the game and they move on. They're incapable of stopping the nonsense this season, and I guess this is just going to be the way that it is, because there's no help coming. This is who you have. These are the guys you've got to pitch. And I don't know if there's a solution with this particular group of guys.
Do you feel it should have been on Yoshinobu Yamamoto the moment that he saw Dave Roberts coming out of the dugout? I know that he was over 100 pitches, 107, 108 when the home run was hit, to be like, hey, it's one out. Let me get it. Let's win this game. Let's stop this losing streak. Or it's like, okay, it's just one out. Let Blake Trinan have it, and then chaos ensued.
Yeah, I'm more in the second camp. Had he stayed out there, I wouldn't have been jumping up and down saying take him out. But I understand the impulse that, look, guys don't pitch 9 innings anymore. And the only reason he was out there in the 9th inning to begin with is because he did have that no-hitter going. I think if this were a 1 or a 2-hitter, he's probably done after 7 or 8 innings. So this was more of an individual accomplishment to try to check that box of a no-hitter. Once that was off the board, I think going to get him was probably the right decision. And again, Trinan's been pretty good. It's like had they gone out there and brought in Tanner Scott to begin it, that would have been one of these, what the heck are you doing? But Trinan has been pretty good. Trinan took full ownership of his inability to do it. And I really do think that they're trying to get Yamamoto, as healthy, as fresh, as crisp as possibly for the postseason. They're only a couple of, about 3 weeks before that actually gets going. So whatever little amount could help. But no, I did not have a huge problem with them taking him out of the game. I was okay with that.
Yeah, I was okay with it, but I mean, knowing the result now, it's like, oh man, I wish it Yoshi, man, it's so frustrating. He's getting the Kershaw treatment from a decade ago when he was the Cy Young winner, when he was the MVP. It was like remember opening day against the Giants where he literally needed to hit a home run, hit a home run in the 8th inning to take the lead because it was a scoreless game going into the bottom of the 8th. And it's like, you got to take matters into your own hands. I think that Yoshi might have to be like, yo, Shohei, you need another pitcher hitting as well in this game because I don't trust the guys behind me right now. And it's just a thing where you feel, okay, tonight 3 runs is going to be enough. That's on the hitters as well. You're going to need 5+ runs every game to be able to be in a good position to win. If not, you're putting the whole pitching staff in a very tough situation.
You mentioned his name too, Harry, and we can talk a little bit about him on the other side too, but thank goodness for Clayton Kershaw. My gosh. I mean, where would this team be without Clayton Kershaw in 2025? A guy that was supposed to be here, pick up your strikeouts, tip your hat, just be a ceremonial, nice to have you around kind of guy. He has been an absolute workhorse for this team and was terrific again yesterday. 8 strikeouts in 5 1/3. And just thank goodness Clayton Kershaw is still Clayton Kershaw.
Let's roll with it. Clayton Kershaw, Sunday. The only team he hadn't pitched against in his Hall of Fame career was against the Baltimore Orioles, and he had the opportunity to show the world what he could do out there in Camden Yards. He was able to get the win for the boys in blue. Justin Robleski looked real good out there, and it just sucks that guys like Robo, Edgardo Henriquez, and Jack Dreyer are doing a better job out of the pen than the highly paid leverage arms. But I'll just put the spotlight on the guys that did their job right now than the ones that they didn't. But Clayton Kershaw, that's the great thing right now, man, that unlike other players that in their last hoorah, they're just a shell of what they used to be. Right now, he's pitching amazing. He's adapting to his new self.
He's their second best guy. He's their second best guy. Behind Yamamoto, he is the guy that has gone out there and given them 5-6 innings just about every time he's gone. And they absolutely had to have it yesterday, and he did it for him. It was vintage Kershaw.
That's a conversation to be had soon. Should it be Kershaw being the second pitcher in the rotation for the Dodgers in the postseason instead of Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, or Shohei Ohtani? Well, the Dodgers catching depth, that was already a concern. And now with Dalton Rushing hitting the IL, it might be their biggest concern. Next on Locked On Dodgers, we'll break down what this means moving forward.
Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. So if you've been putting off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. And you can even identify things like maybe you're not actually saving as much money as you thought. Monarch helps you notice an inefficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. So make sure that you put that Monarch Money app on your phone. Do not let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code LOCKEDONMLB.
Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show live with Pete Fox after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. Shout out to all our crew, Rumar, Craig, all the people watching the premiere, everybody listening to it on demand, thank you so much. It's time to shift over to the catching situation because this is a real problem right now. Will Smith has a bone bruise in his right hand, with Dave Roberts saying that the starting catcher for the LA Dodgers will have to manage it the rest of the season. Alas, this team can't afford both at the batter's box and behind the plate. You hear that? And Travis, he's not going to be 100% the rest of the season. He hasn't been placed on the IL, but right now it's like, well, you're just hoping that he can be out there, and even Will Smith at a 70% is better than the options that are left right now.
Yeah, I think that's it exactly, Harry. I think this is more of a Will Smith with one hand gives you a better option, with all due respect, than Ben, Rortvet. And it's a terrible, terrible break because Will Smith gets the ball fouled off his hand. That's just one of those unlucky things that happens to a catcher every once in a while. And then Dalton Rushing fouls a ball off his leg, and I'd be really surprised if we saw him back at any time. That looked absolutely brutal. You could tell how much pain, excuse me, that he was in as well. Now, this is the ripples on the pond on this are real, right? The defensive stuff kind of speaks for itself. Will Smith is having a pretty good year throwing guys out. Will Smith has become the guy that I think most of these pitchers are comfortable throwing to. He's the veteran back there. He's seen everything. He's done everything. He's familiar with everything. But Dalton Rushing at least had a little bit of swag, right? Dalton Rushing at least brought a little bit of that young guy energy to this thing that I think they're going to miss. And Will Smith was, for 2/3 of the season was a little bit of an outside dark horse MVP candidate. He was a guy that was putting up crazy numbers. And now with one hand, good luck. I mean, I'm hopeful that he'll be able to deal with the pain and deal with the whatever it is that isn't there. But whenever you hear the manager say something like, well, this is just something he's going to have to deal with, that's never encouraging. That doesn't mean that he's going to be feeling great. I mean, he'll do it. He's a tough guy. He'll go out there and play it as much as he can. But you're thinking about maybe playing 8 on 9 offensively if a guy's got one hand along the way. Now, he's got a good eye. He can work some at-bats. He can see some pitches. Maybe he can become more of a situational weapon as opposed to a power weapon along the way and move some guys along and whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, when you're down to Ben Rortvets and whatnot, and not just as your emergency guy, but as your everyday guy, a guy that you're going to have to use night in and night out for who knows how long, it's the worst possible news at the worst possible time.
Yeah, you brought it up. To make matters worse, Dalton Rushing is on the IL after being hit on his right shin during Friday's game. So we got to turn on the alarms with that. Rortvet, the player who was involved that the Dodgers got from Tampa Bay as part of a 3-team trade before the deadline, they hoped that they never needed him. Now he's the starting catcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Who else? Chucky Robinson is going to be in the depth chart right now because he just got called up with Rushing hitting the IL. And Robinson, he got added in the end of May, claiming him off of waivers from the Angels who picked him up in the offseason. 47 games for OKC. If in the PCL these are your numbers, I'm worried. He's batting .259 with a .705 OPS. Last time he played in the big leagues was 2024. he was with the Chicago White Sox, the team that was historically terrible. Even then, he batted 129 in 26 games. So the options, there's slim pickings right now. Travis, I'm ready for the Dodgers front office to pick up that phone and call Austin Barnes. It's like, what's worse right there? Even though Austin Barnes ain't great with his bat, he can command that pitching staff behind the plate. He can't be worse than Conforto.
It's crazy how a position of real significant depth in the organization has gotten to where we are here on September 8th. This is a team that had a glut of guys that were catching, and Will Smith was blocking it, and Dalton Rushing was the heir apparent, and whether it was Diego Cartaya or Kyber Ruiz or whoever these other guys they've had go through there. And now all of a sudden you are trying to pull guys off the street. You're pulling guys off the Chicago White Sox from a year ago. It is a really ugly. Look, it's going to be Will Smith. Assuming Will Smith can stand up and squat behind home plate, he's going to play. He's going to be the catcher in the postseason. It's just a matter of how effective, if effective at all, he can be. But he's going to be your guy. It's just you cross your fingers and hope that he can hit 200 or whatever, and maybe run into one here or there, and at least call a game behind home plate that gives the pitcher some confidence. But this is the exact thing that this team could not afford, is to lose a really important, steady guy like that. And especially at this season with the way things have gone, it's starting to feel like one of those years, Harry.
Yeah, where everything is going against the Dodgers. Yeah. The other option, you mentioned the two big names, the two prospects that the Dodgers traded away, but even Hunter Fiducia, who they traded over to the Rays, he was the one. They traded one player, got three back, including Ben Rortvedt. I was looking at Fiducia's numbers. He's batting 125 with the Rays this season, so it couldn't even be a big upgrade right there. And like I said, it's not just losing a bat. This is about game calling as well, managing pitchers, and being the heartbeat of the team's defense. Because look at Rushing. How many wild pitches and pass balls was he not able to control? And that became runs over the weekend as well. So it's something where it's like, okay, he's not Will Smith. We need Will Smith. And this right now is a big weakness for this team.
The one thing I will say that I think that Will Smith can still do, assuming that he plays, and I think that he likely will, is he's going to give you a good at bat. You know, he's not going to chase. He's not going to strike out a ton. He is a very, very good at bat more often than not. And even a guy that they think a little bit, and this isn't a perfect comparison, but it's kind of similar. When Ohtani messed up his shoulder in the World Series last year, he went from being Ohtani to being a guy that was way, way less than Ohtani, but you still had to deal with him very carefully. You still had to make sure that you didn't do something dumb with him because he's Shohei Ohtani. I think the same thing could be true of Will Smith. Just put him out there. Let him work some pitchers. If he gets some hits, great. But his presence alone is worth something.
Ohtani injured his first at bat in Game 3 of the World Series. They walked him, even though he couldn't swing the bat as he used to. So it's like just having him out there is great. But I feel that the approach from the pitchers against Will Smith will be a little bit different, and that might favor the opposition for the Dodgers. Tyler Glasnow, he had a setback that could change everything, or does it? Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, we chat about how big of a blow this really is. This episode is brought to you by Zippix toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and their caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligrams and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. I've used the caffeine toothpicks before my back and forth drive to LA to call the USC game this past weekend. They give me energy without the jitters, and flavors like peppermint watermelon ice taste great. Go to ZipixToothpicks.com. Use the code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's ZippixToothpicks.com, promo code locked on. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix toothpicks. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rogers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. The Dodgers rotation could be taking a punch, or is it really? Tyler Glasnow was scratched from his Friday start with back tightness, and that's the last thing this team needed, losing a pitcher. But then we look, okay, we got a 6-man rotation. We actually had Shohei Ohtani scratched and having Emmett Sheehan replacing him. Tyler Glasnow was scratched. Shohei replaced him. So this is the one point where you're like, okay, Tyler Glasnow, we won the World Series without him. We went through a lot from last year without him, and we've already been without him this season, and the Dodgers actually were a pretty damn good team when he wasn't playing out there. What does this mean for the Dodgers right now? Because he's not on the IL officially. He could be placed in it. I just think it's disappointing that you have what are considered 3 to 4 aces, or even with the way Kershaw's playing, 5 aces available in your rotation, and you just put one piece out of there. It's like, man, with the way that our pitching staff is being managed right now, I don't feel that we need that right now.
Let me ask the everydayers this question, because I have a feeling they're going to look at this similar to the way that I am, and I would guess that you are too, Harry. Is anybody surprised? Is anybody surprised that Tyler Glasnow is the guy that's unavailable when you got to have him? I'm not. Look, the guy's an amazing talent. When he pitches really well, but he just doesn't play enough. And anything you got from him would be, quite frankly, pretty surprising. If he pitched, I expect him to pitch well, because he almost always does pitch well, but he just doesn't play enough. And this isn't that's bad luck. This is a long major league career that has been defined by the inability to take the ball every 5th or 6th day for several months in a row. And I get it that the way that it's set up now, that guys aren't Fernando Valenzuela anymore, guys aren't Oral Hershiser or even Clayton Kershaw, who just go out there and grind and grind and grind and grind. But this is the extreme other direction. He's just never available. It's a back tightness, it's a knee, it's the mound is wet, it's whatever it is, and it always seems to be him, the guy that's not able to work his way through it. It's incredibly disappointing. Thankfully, they do have Clayton Kershaw able to step in there. Thankfully, you do have a guy like Emmett Sheehan, who, if somebody else were to go down, he could step in there as well. And this is why the question about, who are your 5 guys that are going to start, or your 4 guys that are going to start in the postseason? One of my favorite baseball expressions is, these things tend to take care of themselves and sort themselves out. And when Tyler Glasnow's on the team, they really take care of themselves, because that dude doesn't pitch very much.
Last season, before getting injured in August, he had pitched 22 games, which incredibly is the second most games he has pitched in his career. The most was 45 in 2018 between his time with Pittsburgh and the Rays. This season with the Dodgers, 14 games, 68.2 innings pitched. No. The last time he had fewer innings pitched in a season in his career, in a full season, was in 2019. It's like this guy just can't stay out there on the mound. And I feel like you would be putting yourself in a tougher situation if you're actually trusting him to be there for you in October. I feel that's why the Dodgers went for Blake Snell. They were like, okay, let's have somebody there in case Shohei isn't the Shohei we need on the mound. Let's have Blake Snell as the backup. And man, Blake has been in pretty much the same situation.
I feel awkward. I feel uncomfortable being so dismissive of a guy who is injured, because that's not cool. That's not right. Guys get hurt, and I'm not wishing hurt on anybody, but
it's not like he's asking for it.
It's just too much. It's just too much that you cannot be the guy that, again, I'll go back to what I said, 2 minutes ago. Is anybody surprised? Is anybody surprised that Tyler Glasnow is like, hey man, I can't go? Yeah. Okay. I was just waiting for you to tell me you couldn't, because you always tell me you can't. It's just one of those things that at some point your failure is not surprising. And I guess it's disappointing because you need him, but I'm not even a little surprised that Tyler Glasnow is the guy that's unavailable at the end of the line. That is just his legacy in Major League Baseball, is an incredible talent who's unavailable very frequently.
Year number 2 out of a 5-year contract. So we still got 3 more seasons out of this. For the good of Dodgers fans, hopefully he's able to get stuff together and be a consistent pitcher in the future with health. But as of now, it's like
I would love to have Tyler Glasnow throw 175 innings next year and go, wow, that was great. I'm here to tell you I won't be wrong. The reason I know I won't be wrong is because the other 8 years he's been in Major League Baseball, this is what he does every single season. One of my things, if you have a pattern, I'm going to expect the pattern to continue. If you can break it, good for you, and I'll stand up and I'll cheer for you. But this is exactly what I expected for him. He'll pitch next year. He'll pitch 65, 70 innings. There'll be 65, 70 pretty darn good innings along the way. And they'll be like, oh, what happened to him? Oh, it's a thumb, it's a back, it's a knee, it's a toe, it's a something. It's always something with him.
Even Kershaw has more innings than him this season, and Kershaw came up late with his surgery, with his injury. So it's like, and Kershaw has been doing fantastic. But like I said,
oh man, Kershaw goes, Kershaw pitches, Kershaw shows up. You know, there's a reason he's a Hall of Famer. Sure, he's an incredible talent. Sure, but he shows up. And I'm just going to take a wild guess here, Harry. I bet there's some days that Clayton Kershaw's pitched where he didn't feel very good. I bet you there's a day or two where he's gone out there and go, man, I don't know if I think about when he got bombed out of the playoffs a couple of years ago against Arizona, where he was absolutely dreadful. And everybody in the ballpark knew his shoulder was killing him. Everybody knew he was out there when he probably shouldn't be. And you know what he did? He took the ball and he went out there and he at least gave it a try and at least tried to find a way to compete and go do it. Didn't work out. He got clobbered, it's not the best ending in the world, but at least he went out there and pitched.
And the team needed him. He went out there. If the Dodgers need Clayton Kershaw, he's out there. If the Dodgers need Tyler Glasnow, we don't know if he's available or not. Right. That's the situation that we're in right now. As we're filming this episode, Tyler Glasnow isn't on the IL. It could be a possibility. Let's remember, we only got 19 games, 3 weeks left in the 2025 season. So if he's out for 10 days, that's pretty much half of what's left in the regular season in 2025. Well, that'll do it for today's show from Travis and I. Thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. For your second listen, find the all-new Locked On MLB Game Nights. Every game, every night, until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. The Dodgers are back home to kick off a 3-game series against the Colorado Rockies. Travis, to say that the Dodgers need to not only win the series, sweep the series is an understatement.
How about they win game 1? Let's start with that. They had every Pirates they needed to win. Baltimore they needed to win. Colorado a couple of weeks ago they needed to win. They haven't put any. Let's win tonight on Monday and see what happens after that.
They need it bad. Same thing. At the moment we're recording, TBD, starting pitcher for the boys in blue. We'll be talking. Right. We'll be talking all about it, and we'll tell you if Travis Rogers ended up pitching for the Dodgers on a 1-day contract for the boys in blue. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real. Keep it Dodger Blue.